A skyscraper is a continuously habitable high-rise building that has over 40 floors and is taller than approximately 150 meter, 492 feet. Historically, the term skyscraper first referred to buildings with 10 to 20 floors in the 1880s. However, the definition shifted with advancing construction technology during the 20th century. Nearly every major city in the developed world has skyscrapers, which are the most visible signs of a nation's progress. Thanks to a stronger economy and better understanding about the benefits of tall buildings, many cities around the globe are now looking up, with new towers rising high above their skylines. Some of them are the most awe-inspiring buildings in the world. Keep watching to find out about the 10 tall cities that are home to the largest number of skyscrapers in the world. The largest city in the Philippines, Manila, is also one of the most densely populated cities on the planet. The city, which is located on Manila Bay, has a burgeoning skyline which is set to grow even more in coming years. The tallest building in the city of Manila is Metrobank Financial Center, which was completed in 2017 with a total of 66 floors. Shenzhen didn't exist a few decades ago. In its place was a small fishing village until 1980, when it became China's first special economic zone, meaning it allowed private enterprise and foreign investments. It is now a major pillar of the Pearl River Delta, one of the country's biggest manufacturing hubs, and has a population of 11 million people. The influx of people and business created both the necessity and financial means for an eruption of skyscrapers, like the Ping An Finance Center, the world's fourth tallest building that now define the city. Like Shenzhen, Guangzhou is another Pearl River Delta city that has seen major architectural growth as a result of its manufacturing economy. Many of its newer skyscrapers are clustered in the downtown area around the Canton Tower, where they frame a large public square and park area with a pleasant, if homogeneous, blue glass background. Much of the rest of the city follows a more traditional socialist architecture, where washed-out pastel residential buildings line the streets. Chongqing is the fourth largest municipality in China, and within one of the most economically important areas in the country. It is set to become one of the most important cities in China because of its rapid economic development. It has managed to witness economic growth while still preserving much of the natural environment by building skyscrapers to avoid interference with most of its naturally occurring forests and rivers. Indeed, its growth has been phenomenal. With barely 1 million people at the time of the People's Republic of China's establishment, its population grew almost 30-fold over the next 5 decades. Although it has now dropped to spot number 6 on the list, Chicago was once the site of what many consider the world's first skyscraper, William L. E. Baron Jennings' 10-story home insurance building in 1884. The building was later demolished and Chicago's building code later banned the construction of these early skyscrapers, but the city's history paved the way for a second phase in skyscraper design. In the 1960s and 70s, the John Hancock Center, Willis Tower, formerly Sears Tower, and Mies van der Rohe's IBM building set the tone for a new Chicago architecture based on the international style. Another important Chicago skyscraper from the same period is Bertrand Goldberg's Marina Bay Towers, which was one of the tallest residential projects in the world at the time of its construction in 1964. Until 1963, Japan's laws for building standards capped construction height at 31 meters. Shortly after the law was changed, the slab-like Kazumagaseki building in Tokyo became the country's first modern skyscraper. Following the Kazumagaseki building's construction in 1968, Tokyo steadily increased its number of skyscrapers each year, peaking with several dozen new projects annually between the 1990s and 2000s. Japan's frequent earthquakes have necessitated a strict building code that requires skyscrapers to implement safety infrastructure such as shock absorbers, large foundations, and bases that can move independently from above floors into their designs. Tokyo's tallest skyscrapers are mostly mixed-use office buildings, with the notable exception of Tanja's Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, which was the tallest in the city when it was built in 1991. Shanghai is a city divided in two by the Huangpu River, and the eastern side, Pudong, holds its most iconic skyscrapers. As recently as 30 years ago, Pudong was an unimportant annex of farmland and low-rises to Shanghai's long-standing Tuxi. Since China's economic boom, it has become the city's financial center, as well as a particularly photogenic piece of the country's display of wealth and modernity. The skyscrapers of Pudong, built from the 90s onwards, are almost painfully futuristic, and the area is a stunning collection of shimmering glass mega-towers. The recently completed Shanghai Tower from Gensler is now the tallest in China, and the second tallest in the world. Another recently, rapidly vertical city, Dubai was a small desert town before the discovery of oil and subsequent creation of the United Arab Emirates in 1971. Even as late as the 1990s, Dubai was almost entirely unrecognizable from the architectural fantasy land it is described as today. Dubai's towers and urban planning are a result of massive investments in new engineering technology, and its two most famous buildings are a testament to this. The Burj Al Arab is a 320-meter offshore hotel, and the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world at 828 meters. Another notable case of island-prompted architecture, New York City's love affair with the skyscraper dates back to the late 19th century when tall buildings migrated eastward from Chicago. After a population explosion caused an initial need to build upwards, the post-war economic boom in the 1920s made it possible for buildings to be taller than ever before. The Chrysler Building and Empire State Building were built in this period. Today, the city is home to the United States' tallest building, One World Trade Center. Perhaps more so than in any other city, verticality for Hong Kong is an absolute necessity. The mountainous geography of the city's small islands meant that by the 1900s, Hong Kong was already innovating with vertical building methods to become one of the densest urban centers on the planet. The reality is that there just isn't space to do things any differently. While some architectural standouts exist in Hong Kong, like Norman Foster's HSBC building and I.M. Pei's Bank of China Tower, the city is known more for its sheer height and density than individual buildings. Together, the 1,302 skyscrapers create an urban tapestry that has become iconic in itself. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe the channel for new videos.